Hey, this is Joey here, my first narrated gameplay video. I'll be talking about the Trebuchet that I tried to build in Besiege. Trebuchet is a type of catapult used in ancient times as a siege weapon, but also saw uses for defense in the Battle of Pelennor Fields in Gondor, and in the venerable sport of Pumpkin Chunkin. This was my first attempt at building a trebuchet based on a vague recollection of one from Lord of the Rings. It's basically a counterweight driving a lever with a projectile and a sling. After some fits and starts, it eventually did get me past the level. Eventually, I googled trebuchet to see what one actually looked like, which led me to this design. It was a lot more effective, though when searching for YouTube siege videos, almost all of them used springs to pull down the counterweight. I wanted to keep to the historical gravity-driven system. Note, I don't have a release mechanism, it just drops as soon as the physics simulation kicks in. I saw in Pumpkin Chunkin a design using a sliding carriage, allowing the counterweight to drop straight down. This improved the efficiency, leading to a higher launch speed. I realized I could use a simple gearing system to increase the speed of the throwing arm, also allowing me to add much more mass to the counterweight. Since the weight is split, it may technically be a couliard. It worked really well, a little too well. The arm moved so fast, the centripetal forces from the projectile ripped the assembly apart. This might not be practical, becoming a single-shot weapon, but I wanted to see if this overpowered monstrosity could hurl multiple bombs simultaneously, hence this triple-threat trebuchet. I tried adding some counterweight to the throwing arm to try to balance out the added centripetal forces, but it wasn't enough. Sometimes it would rip apart prematurely. Ultimately, I wanted to make this thing reusable or resettable at least, so I tried adding more counterweight on the arm for balance, which necessitated creating a space in the front of the counterweight, splitting it in half, and also reducing the total weight. Hopefully reducing the speed and balancing the arm so it won't rip. It still ripped. Maybe reducing the payload to a single bomb and bracing the axle might help. It did, sometimes. Most of the time it still broke. So instead, I went back to the earlier single counterweight design with a sliding trebuchet and put the whole thing up on rails so I could steer it, giving it an actual release mechanism and, most importantly, a reload mechanism. To reset, I needed to tighten the rope and engage the grabbing locks to hold the counterweight in place. Here's the first level I tried the new trebuchet on. First, I need to slacken the reset rope and block before firing. I need to move the contraption back to the bomb trough to reload. Maybe that last one was a bit overkill. Anyway, 2 more guys to murder. Note the trough can be angled to move the bombs toward the end. The last bomb takes out the second to last guy. See the problem? Simple solution. That was my second try. Here was the first. Notice how far that livestock flew. Looks like I overshot a bit. Let me remedy that. Undershot a bit. This final version of the trebuchet had an integrated articulating arm trough that had to be moved before firing. And for this level I added a blade of reactive armor against the bomb livestock. Didn't work too well. I replaced that with a shrapnel cannon, which works slightly better, and could be used for anti-personnel on other levels. And added all this to this kind of final war machine. I threw in flamethrowers for demolition and a kind of a backup cannon revolver, which turns out it would have been a lot easier to use in the first place. I realized this after I finished making this video and even uploaded it, so I deleted it and added this in afterwards.
Here's a previous version this war machine was based on. There isn't a locking mechanism, so no way to reset it, much less reload it. But look at it go. In contrast, here's the final war machine. In order to make it resettable, I got rid of that hinge on the weight. Turns out those are very important. Without it, the entire counterweight has to rotate, using a precious potential energy to impart that angular momentum. It doesn't go very far. With a hinge, more energy is dumped into the projectile, and it goes a lot further. Now I can take out those airships in that level with just a trebuchet. Feels less cheaty. With this power, that second airship should be well within range. Crap. Overshot. Let's try that again. Resetting takes an extra step. In order to accommodate the hinge, I added another set of ropes attached directly to the counterweight. That's fine, plenty of bombs. I added one more and modified the trough so bombs fall into a niche under the sling, making it much easier to reload. Made short work of the rest, just using the trebuchet. Much more satisfying.
Here were some earlier misfires. This was my first and only attempt at a catapult. This was before I knew about the contracting springs in the game, which I still haven't really used. Instead I used a cannon recoil to launch the bomb. A bit rube-goldberg, but eventually worked, passing an early level. Here's showing that monster trebuchet, Colliard thing, has enough muzzle velocity that I can use it in direct fire without worrying about arcing the projectile. Alright, thanks for watching.